Here we'll talk about spot map, which is also known as shaded map. So under epidemiological methods, we'll have this time distribution, place distribution and the person distribution. Under the place distribution, we can study the spot map. So this is the spot map of cholera studied by the John Snow. So here you have to notice two things. The cross mark indicates pump and the small black dots indicates the deaths from the cholera. So before we go further, this cholera is a waterborne disease and through the contaminated water, people can get cholera, right? So let us see what can we learn from this spot map. So focus on this broad street, which is in the center of the map. So in the broad street, you have this pump, right? So around this pump, there is clustering of cases. That means you can see higher number of black dots around the pump. So this tells us about the source of infection. There are many other pumps even in the periphery of the map, but there is no clustering around these pumps. Only in the pump of this broad street there is clustering of cases. The source of contaminated water is from this broad street. So the first thing we learned from this map is source of infection by clustering of cases. Second point, the frequency is higher in the center of this map compared to the periphery. Right? So the second thing, we can also learn the higher and the lower frequency of these cases. And third thing, boundaries. So this cholera is only restricted to the central area of the map, right? So it has a boundary. So it also tells us about the boundaries and patterns of this cholera. Let us see the second point. Inner and outer city variations in disease frequencies are well studied. See, inner city you have higher frequency of the diseases compared to the outer city. So inner and the outer city variations in the disease frequencies are well studied. So, map shows a glance of areas of higher and lower frequency, boundaries and patterns of the disease distribution. So clustering of cases on the map indicate a common source of infection or the common risk factor. The broad street, there is a pump and clustering of cases are seen around this pump. That means the source of infection for this cholera is through this particular pump. Example, John Snow in 1854, the Golden Square district of the London was able to focus attention on the common water pump and came to the hypothesis that cholera is a waterborne disease. Through this map, he was able to say that it is a waterborne disease because around this particular pump only there were many cases compared to the other pumps. So through this he came to a conclusion that cholera was a waterborne disease. And second example was place of employment. This is a spot map by which this Maxey hypothesized a rodent reservoir for the typhus fever. Through this they got to know typhus is not a single disease. There is different types of typhus fevers. So they got to know the rodent reservoir for the typhus fever. And the third point is case clustering based on the sexual contact or the blood product used provided clue that the AIDS was infectious diseases. Spot map related to AIDS. This clustering of cases are seen around the sexual contact or the blood product used. Through this they got to know that AIDS was an infectious disease. So this is about spot map. First you have to write where you will see the spot map. You will see under the epidemiological methods under the place distributions. And through this, what can you study? First thing, we can study the frequency, boundaries and the patterns, inner city and the outer city variations of the frequency, and also the clustering of cases indicates the source of infection, right? So and then give the examples: John Snow cholera, Maxey typhus fever and AIDS. By the case clustering, they got to know that AIDS was infectious disease. So this is about spot map. Bye.